Hi, welcome to Stag's Toy Shelf. I have an exciting new, I'm not trying to scare you, package today. A new old item. And it is a doll that, as Tom Waits put it, is big in Japan, like so many other dolls. But it's a vintage American one. It's a Tammy doll. And Tammy dolls were made by Ideal, which makes a lot of really great vintage dolls, including one of my favorites, Baby Big Eyes. It's a beautiful baby doll from the 50s that I have. And Tammys always seem like they must have been around longer than they apparently were, which was only 62 to 66. But that's just because collectors are very into them, and they go for not crazy high prices, but reasonably high prices on various social media sites. And again, Japan really likes them. There were some Japan exclusives made in the 60s, and really beautiful quality Tammys you see going for, well, more than I got this one for, which is why I got her, because she was on the cheap on Etsy. And, wow. Somehow she's bigger than I expected. 12 inches tall. But she's not, she doesn't have those dramatic Barbie proportions. So she seems like a bigger, sturdier item. And I really like how obviously vintage she is. The face, the side eyes, it's just a look that we don't see today, And ones that would tend to be more expensive might have, well, I guess she has brownish red hair. I've seen redder ones. They're blonde ones. Some of them still have sort of perfectly preserved curls, which are very, tempting when you see them listed. But they are the big, pricey ones. Since her knees don't do the click thing, I think that means that she's an early model. She has the little blue playsuit, which is, I think, the default Tammy outfit. You see that sold a lot. With Tammys, and it was kind of her classic outfit. I've seen Tammy clones sold with that, and they're always clones. And she came with what might be a homemade dress. It's got this lovely vintage fabric with rickrack on it, so that'll make her look real good. And a fancier sort of yellow one, so that's good. She's got a little bit of blush messed up on the side. She doesn't have shoes, but she doesn't have aggressive high heels either. The Wikipedia says she's more of a girl next door than Barbie. I think we often forget, those of us who were used to 90s and even 80s and today's Barbie, that Barbie was not quite as friendly, wide-eyed. Initially, she had her side eyes, which are always more mysterious, and she had those even pointier, more aggressive proportions. Barbie, in the 50s Barbie and early 60s Barbie, is actually so exaggerated that she's almost not beautiful sometimes, which is, to me, is what makes Barbie more interesting, and a lot more interesting than the 90s wide-eyed, looking straight-ahead type of Barbies that were my childhood. As a big fan of Cupies, I like that Tammy has side eyes as well. She had a whole family, actually, which I always think is surprising for a doll that was only made for, a handful of years. But she had a sister, parents, a brother. I don't know if she had a boyfriend, but, dolls usually did. Her hair, I think, has been cut on the sides a little bit, so I'm going to have to work with that. I have a Midge doll. Midge was Barbie's best friend originally, and she hasn't much been seen since the infamous pregnant Midge doll from the 80s and early 90s. But my Midge has these really nice curls that her hair is old and kind of greasy and kind of split-ended, but she has clearly original curly hair. I want to preserve that. I won't worry as much with this Tammy because though her face has this lovely vintage look, her hair is not her selling point. But, she was one of the cheapest Tammys I've seen for sale. No offense to her. She's still quite cute. And as usual, Japanese People love their mid-century American stuff, and I don't blame them. Tammy's got these nice little rubbery hands with more detail on the nails and the fingers than I would expect. Her legs are obviously hollow, so she doesn't have that crazy sturdiness of really early Barbies. She's rubbery, you know, she's not hard plastic, she's soft and kind of inviting. I guess she's supposed to be a teenager the way that Barbie originally was, strangely enough. But, you know, the wholesome teen next door. So that is my new Tammy. Definitely not perfect condition, but certainly worth $12 or so plus shipping that I paid. And I'm glad to finally have a Tammy in my collection.